On February 26, 2026, nuclear negotiations between the United States and Iran failed in Geneva. Iranian diplomats rejected demands to permanently dismantle their enrichment facilities. 48 hours later, American and Israeli forces initiated a bombing campaign across Iran. The operation targeted missile production sites and nuclear remnants. Iran still possesses enough near-weapons-grade uranium to construct multiple nuclear devices. The International Atomic Energy Agency confirms they lack physical access to verify where this material is stored. Iran's current 60% enriched uranium stockpile traces back to an American policy decision in 1957. In December 1953, United States President Dwight D. Eisenhower established the Atoms for Peace program. The policy authorized the export of nuclear technology to allied nations. In 1957, Washington and Tehran signed a civil nuclear cooperation agreement. American universities enrolled Iranian students in nuclear physics programs. In 1967, the United States delivered Iran's first nuclear facility. Engineers constructed the 5-megawatt Tehran research reactor on the campus of Tehran University. The United States manufactured and exported the fuel required to operate the installation. The shipment contained 93% enriched uranium. This concentration is weapons-grade material. Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the monarch of Iran, utilized this American foundation to expand the program. In 1974, he established the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran. He approved a national strategy to construct 23 nuclear power reactors by the year 2000. American, French, and West German corporations negotiated contracts to build the infrastructure. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology signed an agreement to train the Iranian physicists required to operate the equipment. The United States provided the foundational technology for Iran's nuclear program. The initial weapons-grade material stored inside Iranian borders was an American delivery. In 1979, the Iranian Revolution ousted Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini assumed control. He ordered the immediate suspension of all nuclear development. Khomeini designated the technology as un-Islamic. The new government dismantled the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran. The scientific staff fled. The domestic nuclear knowledge base dissolved. In September 1980, Iraqi military forces crossed the Iranian border. Iraqi warplanes bombed the inactive nuclear structures at Bushehr. The Iraqi military deployed chemical weapons during ground operations. They utilized sulfur mustard gas and sarin nerve agents against Iranian troops and civilians. Tens of thousands of Iranians suffered chemical exposure. The United Nations declined to intervene. The international community enforced arms embargoes against Tehran. This isolation altered the regime's strategic policy. Iranian leadership concluded conventional weapons could not guarantee the survival of the state. They required an independent deterrent. In 1984, the government authorized the covert revival of the nuclear program. Iran lacked the domestic engineering specifications to construct enrichment centrifuges. Western embargoes prevented legal acquisition. Iranian intelligence officers contacted an underground proliferation network to bypass these restrictions. A Pakistani metallurgist named Abdul Qadir Khan operated the network. Khan previously stole proprietary centrifuge blueprints from a European nuclear consortium. He utilized those designs to build Pakistan's nuclear weapons program. Khan operated front companies in Switzerland, Turkey, and the United Arab Emirates. This decentralized structure obscured transactions from international intelligence agencies. In 1987, Iranian procurement agents traveled to Dubai. They met with network intermediaries. The Iranian representatives paid millions of dollars in cash. The network sold Iran complete designs for the P1 gas centrifuge. Operatives disassembled physical sample centrifuges and shipped them under falsified customs declarations. Commercial cargo vessels transported the crates from Dubai to the Iranian port of Bandar Abbas. The network also delivered a business catalog of international suppliers willing to sell restricted materials to sanctioned states. Iranian engineers transported the components to secret research sites. They reverse-engineered the P1 models. In the mid-1990s, Iranian officials negotiated a second purchase. They acquired blueprints for the advanced P2 centrifuge. The P2 model utilized a Maraging steel rotor. It enriched uranium gas at twice the efficiency of the P1 model. Iran bypassed Western embargoes by purchasing existing nuclear technology through an international black market. The transaction provided Tehran with the exact blueprints required to build a covert domestic enrichment facility. Iran is the only non-nuclear weapon state producing uranium enriched to 60%. Every other nation processing material to this purity possesses a declared nuclear arsenal. Iran operates one active nuclear power plant. The Russian-built Bushehr reactor requires fuel enriched to 5%. Russia supplies this fuel directly. Iran also runs a medical research reactor in Tehran, requiring 20% enriched uranium. The government already possesses enough 20% material to operate this facility for decades. The 60% stockpile serves zero civilian energy or medical requirements. Natural uranium ore contains exactly 0.7% of the fissile U-235 isotope. Weaponizing this material demands massive industrial extraction. Technicians convert 10,000 kilograms of raw uranium into a corrosive gas. They feed this gas into centrifuges spinning at 90,000 revolutions per minute. To reach 5% purity, the machines must physically separate and discard 8,500 kilograms of heavier isotopes. This single step completes 70% of the total mechanical effort required for a nuclear bomb. The process accelerates. Engineers feed the reduced volume back into the centrifuges. Enriching the material from 5% to 20% removes another 1,200 kilograms of waste. At 20% purity, the centrifuges have finished 90% of the physical work necessary for a weapon. Iran currently pushes 20% uranium through advanced cascades. To achieve 60% purity, the mass decreases exponentially. The final threshold for a military warhead is 90% purity. Advancing from 60% to 90% requires less than 1/10 of the total mechanical effort. The centrifuges process tens of kilograms instead of thousands. Intelligence agencies monitor breakout time. This metric calculates the exact days needed to yield 20 kilograms of 90% enriched uranium. 20 kilo dryers forms one standard implosion core. Starting from raw uranium takes over a year. Starting from 60% enriched uranium eliminates the labor-intensive extraction phases. Technicians alter the cascade feed rates. They adjust the piping. They input the highly concentrated gas. Advancing from 60% to 90% takes only weeks, because the vast majority of the technical labor is already complete. The mathematics of enrichment transform the existing stockpile into an immediate threshold capability. The infrastructure enabling this threshold capability remained hidden until August 2002. Dissidents released satellite photographs and exact geographical coordinates for two unlisted facilities. Engineers operated a uranium enrichment plant near Natanz and a heavy water production plant near Arak. The Iranian government kept both sites off the International Atomic Energy Agency registry. Engineers built the Natanz enrichment halls 23 meters below the surface. 8-meter-thick concrete walls and rock protected the centrifuge cascades from aerial bombardment. Foreign intelligence investigated the sites and identified the Ahmad Plan. The Iranian Ministry of Defense directed this covert military project. Physicist Mohsen Fakhrizadeh led the operation to develop 5 10-kiloton nuclear warheads. Engineers designed these weapons to fit inside the payload chamber of a Shahab 3 ballistic missile. The United Nations Security Council responded with 6 resolutions between 2006 and 2010. The United States and the European Union implemented financial embargoes. They disconnected Iranian banks from the global SWIFT system and blocked oil exports. Iran lost tens of billions of dollars in trade revenue. The economic pressure forced Iranian diplomats into negotiations. On July 14, 2015, Iran signed the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. The agreement established mathematical limits. Iran dismantled 2/3 of its 19,000 gas centrifuges. Engineers removed advanced models and placed them in monitored storage. Iran agreed to operate exactly 5,060 first-generation IR-1 centrifuges at Natanz for 10 years. The agreement capped the national enriched uranium stockpile at exactly 300 kilograms. Iran shipped 9,700 kilograms of excess material to Russia. The state capped all enrichment at 3.67% purity, holding it far below the 90% weapons-grade threshold. Technicians disabled the Arak heavy water reactor. They removed the reactor core and filled the central vessel with concrete. This eliminated the plutonium production pathway for a nuclear weapon. The IAEA implemented daily inspections at Natanz and Fordow. Technicians installed continuous electronic monitoring devices on centrifuge rotors and tracked raw uranium ore mining. The international community lifted the nuclear-related economic sanctions. This monitoring system operated for 3 years. Inspectors verified the 300-kilogram stockpile limit and the 3.67% enrichment cap. On May 8, 2018, the United States withdrew from the JCPOA. The U.S. government reinstated financial sanctions and threatened secondary sanctions on international corporations. Foreign investment stopped. Oil exports decreased by more than 2 million barrels per day. Iran remained in the agreement for 1 year and demanded economic compensation from European signatories. The compensation never materialized. In May 2019, Iran announced a sequential reduction in its commitments. The state exceeded the 300-kilogram stockpile limit and breached the 3.67% enrichment ceiling. Technicians installed advanced IR-4 and IR-6 centrifuges. The Iranian Atomic Energy Organization disabled the IAEA electronic monitoring equipment. They removed surveillance cameras from the enrichment halls. They denied inspectors physical access. Technicians reconfigured the centrifuge cascades, crossed the 20% threshold, and initiated 60% enrichment. The machines ran continuously. They accumulated hundreds of kilograms of highly enriched material. The mathematical boundaries disappeared. The unmonitored accumulation of fissile material resumed. By May 2025, Iran accumulated 9,247.6 kilograms of enriched uranium. This inventory exceeded the 2015 legal limit by more than 30 times. The IAEA confirmed 408.6 kilograms of this stockpile reached 60% purity. Iran achieved this concentration at the underground Fordow facility. The enrichment halls sit 80 meters below solid rock on an Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps military base. Iran lacks operational civilian reactors requiring 60% enriched fuel. Converting 408.6 kilograms of 60% uranium into 90% weapons-grade material requires weeks. The centrifuge cascades completed the vast majority of the technical labor during lower enrichment stages. Processing this inventory yields enough fissile material to manufacture multiple 20-kilogram implosion cores. In the spring of 2025, the Iranian Atomic Energy Organization dismantled international oversight. They denied visa requests for United Nations nuclear inspectors. They removed active surveillance cameras from the Natanz and Fordow enrichment halls. They severed digital data feeds from the electronic enrichment monitors. They deactivated the flow meters measuring uranium gas entering the cascades. Technicians transfer solidified 60% uranium into standardized steel shipping cylinders. Inspectors previously secured these cylinders with tamper-indicating metal seals. In May 2005, inspectors lost the ability to verify these seals. Without physical access, the cylinders can be relocated to undeclared subterranean facilities. Satellite imagery cannot verify the contents of a metal cylinder stored beneath layers of earth and concrete. In June 2025, the IAEA declared Iran in breach of its non-proliferation obligations. Inspectors confirmed the 408.6 kilograms existed. They confirmed its 60% purity. They formally stated they could no longer confirm its physical coordinates. The international community lost the ability to track the material. Iran possessed an unmonitored stockpile capable of producing multiple nuclear weapons. Inspectors tasked with finding it lost all physical access. On February 26, 2026, nuclear negotiations between the United States and Iran failed in Geneva. The American delegation demanded the permanent dismantlement of the underground enrichment facilities at Fordow and Natanz and the surrender of the 60% enriched uranium inventory. Iranian diplomats rejected the terms and abandoned the negotiations. 48 hours later, American and Israeli forces initiated Operation Epic Fury, a coordinated bombing campaign across Iran. The objective was the total physical destruction of nuclear infrastructure, missile capabilities, and the Iranian leadership. Israeli F-35 stealth fighters disabled early warning radar stations in Syria and Iraq. United States Air Force B-2 Spirit bombers then entered Iranian airspace. In the opening salvos, precision-guided munitions struck the leadership compound in Tehran. Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and dozens of top government officials were killed instantly. A subsequent strike on March 3rd destroyed the Assembly of Experts building, severing the immediate chain of political succession. The bombers carried 30,000-pound massive ordnance penetrator bombs designed to breach subterranean concrete vaults. munitions struck the Parchin military complex, the Kojir solid fuel motor production facilities, the centrifuge manufacturing plant in Karaj, and the surface support buildings at Natanz. Military planners restricted the nuclear targets to confirmed mechanical facilities to prevent the release of highly toxic, radioactive uranium hexafluoride gas. The strikes caused extensive collateral damage in heavily populated zones. The Grand Bazaar in Tehran and the Golistan Palace sustained severe structural damage during the bombardment. Despite the heavy bombardment, the operation failed to eliminate the threat of an Iranian counterattack. Surviving subterranean silos immediately initiated a massive retaliation. Hundreds of ballistic missiles and thousands of loitering munitions were launched against Israel, as well as American military installations in Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Azerbaijan. Simultaneously, Iranian naval forces moved to close the Strait of Hormuz, effectively halting regional transit and fracturing global energy markets. The preemptive military intervention successfully decapitated the regime and halted the production of new nuclear infrastructure, but it ignited a full-scale regional war. Furthermore, the airstrikes failed to secure the 60% enriched uranium. A leaked Defense Intelligence Agency report confirmed that Iranian forces successfully relocated the stockpile prior to the bombers entering the airspace. The bombs failed to reach the uranium. As Iranian retaliatory missiles continued across the Gulf, 408.6 kilograms of unmonitored fissile material remains intact inside Iran, completely unaccounted for by the international community.